And action. Hey guys, hello YouTube. Welcome back to another watch video. As you can see, I've got a very nice watch to show you guys today. And here is the watch review for the out of order Casanova 43mm quartz watch. So let's go ahead and begin. Of course, this is my wristwatch check since this is the watch I'm wearing and reviewing today. This was a watch that I had purchased off of eBay, as you saw in my other watch video, and I've really enjoyed wearing this watch for the past approximately 2 weeks. So I've definitely got an idea about how this, how much this watch is worth and all the features of this watch. So this is what it looks like on my 7-inch wrist, and as you can see, it is definitely a modern sized watch. It is 43mm in diameter, including the bezel and the dial. And it looks really good on my wrist. I like this size. This tends to be a good size for my wrist. And as you can see, it's not very raised from the wrist. So it's something that I can wear casual and probably under a dress shirt as well. So this is what it looks like. I'm just giving you guys a image of the watch before we go into details. All right, so to get a good look at the watch, let's go ahead and take it off the wrist, and so we can get a good look at it. Okay. All right, guys, so as we're gonna get into the watch review, I do want to remind you guys that I would love for you guys to subscribe to my channel and to follow me as I discover new watches. All right, so just hit that subscribe button and let's get on with the show, shall we? So as you can see, this watch has a very kind of vintage, well-worn look to it, and that's intentional. As you can see, the name of the watch is Out of Order, and their slogan, which is also written here, is damaged in Italy. So again, these watches actually come from the factory pre-damaged. Now let me clarify pre-damaged, because as you can see, the crystal itself looks pretty immaculate. Damaged is where they are taking this metal, the stainless steel metal, for example, that was originally silvery white or silver in color, and they galvanize it. They put it through some intense stress so that they can create this kind of vintage or worn look. The same process or a similar process is applied to the bezel itself. As you can see, this should be a black bezel, but around the edges it definitely looks kind of worn and faded, and I really like this look. I think that to some degree vintage watches are coming back in style, and it becomes a desirable look to have a watch that may not necessarily look immaculate, but indeed has been put through its paces. So, as you can see, a lot has been done to the watch to make it look aged. But inside, as you can see inside the crystal, everything's looking pretty normal, or pretty new, I should say. It does not look faded. The dial itself is pretty clean, without any marks on it. The hour markers are also looking pretty good. And inside the bezel, as you can see, they have what's written 000 out of order. And I thought that was a pretty nice touch to the watch. And it also made it look so that the crystal was not as heightened or as high off of the dial as if it would appear if that writing was not there. Now, this watch, if you know watches, you know that this watch looks like a Rolex Submariner. Indeed, it is a homage watch to the Rolex Submariner. That means that they're not exactly copying it detail for detail, but that the design is highly inspired by the Rolex Submariner, as you can see from the design of the indices with the triangle at the top, the circles for some of the other hours, and then these rectangles, the fact that it does have a date function with the date magnifier bubble. As you can see that from the side, you can see that little kind of date window, and then when you bring it through the magnifier, it does become bigger and more legible to read. All right, and it is a quartz movement. You can tell that because of the distinct movements of the seconds hand. It is not a smooth moving seconds hand, so that means that it is battery powered, and the battery will likely have to be changed every 2 to 3 years, and I'm totally okay with that. All right, and the bezel, we talked about how it looks faded. It does have a luminous pip, meaning that this actually does glow in the dark, and so you'll see a photo of the luminosity of the watch later in this video. And the hour markers are also luminous. They do glow in the dark when light is applied to the indices. And then the seconds hand pip, as well as the minutes hand and the hours hand, also do glow in the dark. Now they do have a nice shine to the minute, hours hand, seconds hand, as well as the borders of the indices, unlike a Rolex Submariner, where these would be outlined in white gold. Of course, this is probably some type of stainless steel or other material, but it really does give a nice shine to the watch. And the crystal itself is a scratch-resistant mineral crystal. It is not a sapphire crystal, so these crystals tend to be easier to scratch than a sapphire crystal, but it is very easy to read, easy to see through the crystal and to read the time. And I'm not at all bothered by the fact that it has a mineral crystal at the price point that I got the watch for. Now on the side of the watch case, you do see made in Italy. And that is with pride that this watch is not made in China, rather, but made in Italy. Now the movement itself, of course, is not made in Italy. It is made in Japan, and it is a Miyota movement, which tends to be highly accurate and reliable as well. Now on this side, you can see the crown, and the crown is indeed a signed crown. So it does say 000, of course, for out of order. And there are a few little scratches that have been acquired on this watch before that I bought it online. And you have the regular or typical crown guards that protect the crown. Now, the interesting thing about this watch is that it is water resistant. As you can see on the bottom, it says water resistant to 10 atmospheres of pressure. Now, part of what grants that water resistant is the fact that it has a screw down crown. In other words, rather than just popping out like most crowns do, you actually do have to unscrew the crown in order to have access to the crown, which you can use to change the time. Now, as you can see right now, it is a quartz movement, so even if you move it forward, it is not going to wind the watch like an automatic watch would get wound by the crown if it has that function. But if you pull it out for one position, just like with most watches, you can then usually change the date function. As you can see, you can progress the date forward when you bring the crown to the first position. Now when you bring it to the second position, of course, the time stops, and then you can adjust the time as needed. Let's see, just try that again. Perfect. You can see you can adjust the time as needed. Okay. All right. And then, of course, to regain that water resistance, as well as just kind of to have the crown secured, you push in first, and then you apply a little bit of pressure to get it back in the threading, so that then you can tighten the crown and have it water resistant. All right, very good. So we've talked about quite a few features about the watch so far. As you can see, this watch is on a leather band. This is one of my favorite features of this watch, and really adds to the comfort of the watch, is this leather band. And it is stylish with these threads put near the edges of the band. And as you can see, I've been wearing it a lot since I bought it. It did have a few creases in the leather, but that's the wonderful, beautiful things about leather, is that it shows its age and its maturity. All right, and if we look on the back of the band, it's a little bit faded, but it does show, and it may be hard for you guys to see, the number 22, which indicates that it is 22 millimeters in diameter. And, oops, there goes my cleaning cloth. And it does say Verapel, made in Italy. Very good. And then on the other side, on the inside, it may be hard for you guys to read. 000, out of order, damaged in Italy. So I really like this leather band. This watch comes with a very high quality and very comfortable leather band that of course has a distinct smell of leather as well. All right, so on the back of the watch, you do see out of order, made in, or sorry, damaged in Italy. And around the back of the watch, it does say out of order, all stainless steel, water resistant, 10 millimeters, or sorry, 10 atmospheres, and another slogan by this company, which is, please treat me bad. I think that's kind of funny. All right. And one of the appeals of this watch company and this watch in particular is that it comes pre-damaged. So oftentimes when you buy a new watch, you get worried that you really want to try to protect that watch from getting any scratches, any dings, any nicks. And sometimes that worry, depending on your personality, it can take away from your enjoyment of wearing the watch if you're too worried about scratching it. So Out of Order did us all a favor and went ahead and damaged the watch. And that way you don't have to worry about damaging it, because gosh, if there's another scratch on this bezel, who's going to know the difference? Who's going to not be able to tell, or be able to tell rather, that you damaged it or that it came like that from the factory? So I thought that's kind of a clever idea behind it, and that was one of the appeals of this watch to me, other than of course the kind of homage look to the Rolex Submariner. So overall, that is my review of the watch. I hope you liked this video. Keep watching for some additional footage and photos of the video, including the loom shot that will give you a little bit of information about how this watch looks when it's glowing in the dark and how well you can tell the time. So I appreciate you guys tuning in to see this video. Please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like button if you liked it. And always remember that I put in my plug for Watch Gang, which is a really cool subscription service to get a free, or rather a new mystery watch every month with a very reasonable subscription fee for 3 different tiers of watches. But if you use my link in the caption below, you get 50 free points, which is basically $25 worth towards your subscription or towards a watch on the wheel of watches. So, all right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. You guys have a wonderful day. Adios, and stay safe and stay healthy. All right, I've entered a dark room and I turned on a flashlight. Now we're going to charge the watch. And ultimately, we're trying to make sure we can get maximum luminosity using this LED light. Now we're going to turn off the light, and you can get an idea of the luminosity of the different parts of the dial that light up.